Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
I hope so.
Well, if you are watching WheelHouse and we are somehow not live or you can't hear us, write a comment. We're trying to get our FaceTime feed working because we want to make sure that we can bring you guys really cool guests that are not in studio or can't come in studio. Like our first guest, Michael Mills, who's the CEO and founder of luxgiftsandgoods.com. He's hopefully joining us with the magic of FaceTime. John and I will get into our normal shout-outs and everything after we chat with Michael. Do we have him, John?
Mike can hear us.
Michael is here.
Awesome.
Michael is here. All right.
Michael, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I'm very well. We're right in the midst of the holiday season, so I'm glad to be able to join you at this time.
Well, I'm guessing it's a very busy time for you guys because everybody's thinking about gifting, giving gifts. And if people go and check out your website, it's Lux, L-U-X-S, gifts, N, just the letter N, goods.com. It's a kick butt site. I've been on a lot of gifting sites because I own a real estate business and we give gifts. We give closing gifts. We give anniversary gifts. So I've been on a lot of these sites. The way yours is laid out is A, super classy. B, it's got a lot of cool gift ideas. And you have a section for pets, which is really, really cool.
Actually, my pets are some of my best test subjects because the toys that I sell on the site, I let them test out first to see that they're durable, the leashes, that type of thing. So a lot of the products that are on the site I've actually used and consumed myself, whether it be the food items or some of the other items on the site like the pet gifts and furniture and that type of thing.
Yeah, it's what I love is you have it broken down, obviously gifts for men, gifts for women, gifts for pets. And most of the sites, don't have gifts for pets, but you have so many creative ideas. I always joke, some people are just impossible to shop for. People say I'm impossible to shop for. And you have such a wide range of different things and types of gifts people can order on your site. I love the way you laid that out. What got you into wanting to have a business based around gifting?
I was accidentally an eBay power seller during the recession. I started selling things out of my home that I really didn't want anymore, like back issues of Architectural Digest, back issues of Time Magazine, and just things that I didn't want anymore. And it, was pretty amazing, that people all over the world were buying these things. So my mother passed away a couple of years ago. And I decided after that I wanted to reinvent myself. I've been a lawyer for 22 years, and I really enjoyed e-commerce. And it was just one of those things. I've sort of known what to do with it. Everything on the site, I picked myself, every, single item, every single vendor. And I've gone to several trade shows in New York, Atlanta, Las Vegas to find these people. And then now I'm having people come to me that want to be on the site.
For those of you watching, we have Michael on, but it's going to be his audio. We're dealing with some FaceTime issues, but everybody can hear you. So for those of you watching, we're not on there, but everybody can hear you. I love that you are an attorney. I am an attorney too. I still practice, but it's funny to me how many attorneys go through law school, practice a little bit, and then sidestep into a completely different business. It's such a common occurrence.
I think part of the issue is that there's so many attorneys and well-educated people generally, whether it's an MBA or some sort of advanced degree, and they're just not.
Did we lose him, John?
Yeah, he froze.
He froze?
He froze.
So for those of you watching, John and I have been busting our butts to try to get...
he might be back. Michael, you back with us?
I'm back.
All right, good. All right,
you froze
I never went away.
Okay. I'm able to see you. Nobody else is able to.
Yeah, it sounded like you had kind of gone away, but it might be the connecting. It's funny. Every time I FaceTime friends, I have a friend of mine, Sean, I FaceTime almost every day.
Yeah.
And you get that little connecting, like we're losing connection, even when we're both on Wi-Fi. So that could be what's happening here. But I think we had left off almost as people get MBAs and intelligent people, and then I think you may have cut off.
Well, I think we're at a time too where people are going to have to make their own way, and you're not going to be able to earn a living just out of one thing. So I really enjoyed the luxury gifts and home goods business. I was a former architect. I have an affinity for furniture and decorative items, and it's a lot of fun for me. Most days are really a joy. It's interesting we're having tech issues today because that has tended to be my largest issue, is just getting some of these tech issues resolved that I can't even fix myself. So I have to depend on other professionals to do that.
Well, I love your idea of, and we send our guests obviously a little questionnaire. You had something on there, hire the right people to do the right things. And it seems like the site I was on it. It works great. What's the order time period? So if I wanted to order a gift for somebody for the holidays, how quickly can I get it to them? Because I'm a last minute shopper. So I'm the guy on Christmas Eve trying to get Christmas gifts for people. Is there a time frame where you recommend in the busy season somebody order from your site?
Okay, well, the answer to that, as with many questions, is it depends. We have a vendor in Bali that might take 10 days. The vendor in Greece might take 7 days. Most of our vendors in the continental United States have an agreement with us to ship within 48 hours or less of receiving the order. But, larger pieces of furniture can take longer. It all depends. But I tell the customer when they place the order immediately if there's an issue. And then with our different items, it will say, the olive oil from Greece or the items from Bali. It says in the listing that item will take longer to receive because oftentimes it's custom.
Right. Is there do you have like the most popular thing people order? Is there something that is more ordered than others?
It's very strange. Things that I would think that people wouldn't like the most, they do. We have a brand from Arizona called Ass Kickin' Southwest Specialty Foods. Somebody in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, where Charlie Daniels is from, bought 30 pounds of spicy peanuts last year around the holidays. You wouldn't have thought that. And then, I was selling some bead bracelets that have done very well. But, things that I don't think necessarily will sell well do very well. And then things that I think are very high taste or high, design sometimes don't sell as well. So the customer is king. And that's why I have 5,600 items on there and growing from 55 vendors, because I really want to try to have something for everyone at all price points, because luxury need not be expensive. We're just trying to have things that are unique. Most of our items are not on eBay or Amazon. They're more boutique vendors, but yet they can service a national audience.
Yeah, it's incredible. Your site really does have something for everybody. And that's what I took from going on there. A, really cool, classy stuff. B, interesting stuff that you usually don't find on gifting sites. Like I said at the top of the show, I go on a lot of them just to research gift giving, not just during the holidays, but all year round. But you guys have a little bit of everything. You have Oprah's favorite things on there, at least a handful of them. So you guys have a little bit of everything. Are those hot topics? Obviously, because Oprah is she's Oprah, so people listen.
I think Oprah is going to be an ongoing brand, but since her show is not on daily like it once was, I mean, she still has a national presence, but the item has to sell itself and stand on its own. The cat scratcher or the Verdant Kitchen, from Play Pet Products, or the Verdant Kitchen turmeric foods, those have to stand on their own. The fact that Oprah likes it is great, but, people have to like it on their own if they're going to buy it more than once.
Well, I love it. And thank you so much for taking some time to come talk to us about your site. I know you're giving a pretty cool little promo code that I think people can use if they go on your site. What's the promo code, John?
I'm going to let Michael say
Okay, I'll let Michael say it. It's his promo code.
The code is WHEEL15 in all caps. WHEEL15 with no spaces, all caps, and it's good through the end of the year, 12/31, for 15% off everything site-wide.
We really appreciate that. There's a couple things on that site I really love, in specific a watch box. So I'm going to probably be on your site ordering, if not for other people, myself, a few things off of your site. So I appreciate you taking the time. I apologize to you and those listening for the little bits of FaceTime tech issues we've had. But
I've been able to see the whole thing. We're sitting here looking at each other.
Yeah, I guess you're looking at Michael. Yeah. I'm looking at you.
I want to tell you, though, remember, we're not just a gift-giving site for Christmas Day. Yes. We're a gift giving site for every day. So that's what I want people to remember. We're really trying to be a year round business, and we sell things that people can use year round in their daily lives, whether it's food or utilitarian items for the kitchen or, furniture, home decor for the home.
And I love that you said that because we have a lot of realtors that listen just by the nature of me having a real estate company and being in the real estate world. So realtors, if you guys are looking for gifts for clients, whether it's for closings, anniversaries, the holidays, life events, check this site out. Like I said, I've been on a lot of these websites just doing research into being able to give gifts to clients. And this is easily the classiest, most well laid out site that also has, most of these sites only have a handful of items. There literally is something for everybody on this site. So definitely check out Michael's site. And Michael, I really do appreciate you taking the time today.
Hey, Michael, just real quick, I want to make sure that I'm going to put it back up one more time. The website address, it is Lux Gifts and Goods, all one word, .com, correct?
Correct.
Okay, luxgiftsandgoods.com with the promo code WHEEL15?
Correct.
Awesome. I just want to make sure that we had that up on the screen long enough for people to see it, write it down, copy it, however, because like Mo said, it's a fantastic site, and we were very excited to have you on today.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'd love to come back again some other time if you'll have me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And next time, hopefully, I can see you because I'm watching John watch you. You can't actually see you. So
I've learned a lot about FaceTiming myself today that I honestly didn't want to know, but I'm going to know it for the next time.
Well, we appreciate you taking the effort and working through it with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy holidays to you.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Look at that. You almost got it, John.
Woo, almost.
John is sweating bullets in the corner trying to figure that out. So check out his site. It really is awesome. I was on it yesterday. I was on it a little bit today. It's got a lot of luxury items on there. It's got items anywhere from a few bucks to like really, really nice stuff. Again, broken down between men, women, and pets. There's some really cool pet products on there. And as John gets all the cameras reset up to go back to our normal show where you guys can see everybody except for just me. Perhaps. You got it. John's taking his seat. We're going to talk to John a little bit about his trip to Las Vegas. So we'll do our shout outs now before we get into our in-studio guests, who I'm super excited to have in because they brought us, they're super cool, but they brought us wine to drink, and I have an event to go to tonight. So they're going to get me pre-drinking on the show. Real quick, shout out again to, I'll do my shout outs and then John will one-up me. Shout out to my staff over at Main Street. We have our holiday party this weekend. They're kicking butt, getting everything ready. These guys are total rock stars. So really, really thank you to them. That's really my only shout out. I don't have many shout outs left to give. John, you want to give some shout outs now that you're settled?
Oh, my goodness. I'm on the air finally. Wow, that was a very long 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's the FaceTiming. So for those of you listening, we have tried very hard to get Skype to work. We had issues with Skype. And then our products in here that you obviously cannot see are very Apple-based, even though John's not the biggest Apple fanatic.
I'm getting there.
He's getting there. But we have Apple products. We have iPads that run cameras. So we figured FaceTime is an easier way to get people to
easy peasy.
But it's not as easy as you think.
No, it's, everybody has their own.
But shout out to John. Most podcasts are only audio. One of the things we always wanted to do on WheelHouse is bring a live experience, almost like a show, because it's more real. It's not edited. You guys get to see the raw, us running around doing what we're doing. And
sometimes
having a good time.
Very raw.
And you just get to see like kind of the personalities of our guests. We are live now on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else. I always say those two. Anywhere else that podcast can be listened to. So if you guys want to download us, we really appreciate that. But we wanted to have the live aspect of the show, but some people don't realize a live streamed show is not as easy as you think.
Live TV, well, live web TV, whatever you want to call it. But, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So your shout outs before we get into these two amazing guests.
Okay. So you asked me moments ago as far as the trip to Vegas.
Yeah.
Trip to Vegas was awesome. My niece had a great time. We two quick shout outs to people from Vegas. one of the things that I like to do anytime I'm out there with somebody who's never been is get a stretch limo, get some bottles of champagne, do a strip tour for an hour, hour and a half.
We just pop bottles out the sunroof. I can just see you sitting there just like shaking the bottles up.
So got done with a real nice dinner. We went out for our tour, and Joey Bag of Donuts was our limo driver. And man, he was just cool as hell. I had champagne. He had extra champagne. He set it up so that we were driving past the Bellagio just as the fountains were going off. Pulled over, threw on the hazards, got us all out, took a bunch of pictures, hit a couple other stops where he stopped and pictures. He just treated my niece like a queen. He was awesome. And then on Sunday, Maggie and I, everybody went home Sunday morning. Maggie and I like Sundays in Vegas, so we hung out. And we were at a place called Beer Park, and just watching games and kind of decompressing, having some cocktails, but nothing crazy. And the bartender there, we named her. I'll tell you why later, but Jessie Girl Vegas, and she was just the coolest, most attentive, super friendly person. We wound up sitting and talking with her. We had paid our check probably half hour. We were just having a great conversation. And it's not that often at a popular place you find somebody who's just going to sit and hang out with you.
Jessie Girl Vegas, follow AE WheelHouse so we can give her a proper shout out.
Actually, so her dad, it's going to be another FaceTime thing. Her dad is a jeweler just outside Detroit. Detroit, we'll say that. And we were telling her about the show, and we were talking about our family. I mean, it really was cool. And I invited her to invite him to reach out to me because I would love to have him, because I told her, I said, you've got such a great personality. He must be awesome. If he's dealing with people all the time and he made you into the person you are, I would love to have him on.
Cool.
So hopefully, not before the holidays. We can't do it that quick, but hopefully before Valentine's Day.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Make people buy jewelry for their loved ones.
Absolutely. So
Very
those
cool.
are my two shout-outs. I don't know if they're going to see them or hear them, but they're out in
If Jessie Girl Vegas and
Jessie Girl Vegas and
Jessie
Joey
Girl
Bag of Donuts.
Joey Bag of Donuts and Jessie Girl's dad hear us. Shout out to you guys
there you
from
go.
John.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to get into my very, very cool guests. One who is a repeat guest, and we had so much fun with her last time, Regine Rousseau. She's the CEO of Shall We Wine. She's an author. Her book, Searching for Clothes and Lilies, is pretty awesome, and we'll have her explain it. She's got a goal, I believe. It's 100 books in 100 days or 30 days? 100 books in 30 days sold. It is on Amazon. This is my copy, so you guys can't have it. It's even signed. Yep. But buy your own on Amazon. And Derrick Westbrook of Derrick Westbrook LLC, who is, his story is amazing. We were talking off air while John was trying to figure FaceTime out. And his story is really cool. He's a wine expert. He's a business owner, and I'm excited to talk to both of them. They have tons and tons of wine here for us to drink. I'm going to talk to Regine first, John.
Yes.
Is that how we got the camera set up? Regine, thanks for coming back.
What? I couldn't wait. I was so upset it took you like a couple of months to invite me back.
Well, we have slowly gotten a little bit popular. People keep scheduling time to come on WheelHouse. John's got some guests, but we were really excited. We've had a couple repeat guests. You're one of the few that have come back on again, and I can't wait to chat with you about what's going on.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
What's new with you?
Wow. So last time I was here, I was starting the City Winery book tour.
That's right.
And we finished that, and that was amazing. I hit Chicago, Atlanta, Boston, D.C., and I'm forgetting one more place. Where else was I? No, I didn't go to Nashville. Atlanta.
He
DC.
really just wants to go to Nashville.
He loves
He's got
Nashville. He's from Nashville.
We'll get to that in a second.
But it was amazing. I mean, the book was well received. We had, just fans come out that I didn't even know had heard about the book, and it just felt really good. So in City Winery, they were an amazing, amazing host. I'll do a shout out also to Broadbent. They supplied the wines for the event, so the events were really high end with great wines, and it was really cool. Yeah, it was.
That's awesome. How long did it take you to do the entire tour?
It was 8 weeks.
Wow, so it's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, it was.
back to
Well,
back.
we did 2 cities and then came back. Oh, I forgot New York. So we did 2 cities and I came back home, and then 2 cities and came back home. So and then I ended in Turks and Caicos.
It's a lot of hungover flying, I guess.
No. I'm a professional. I sip.
You sip. Unlike John and I who chug.
Exactly.
John messaged me, I think it was Monday when he was coming back. I said, how you doing, buddy? And he's like, I need like 2 days to recover.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 days. And I don't think he's recovered yet.
Vitamin D and water and kale and beet.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah. It's good stuff. I'm getting back.
Burritos, tacos, and
Oh,
water and
yeah.
Gatorade. It's the way
French
I
fries.
do hangovers. Yeah,
Yeah, French fries. Yeah.
So, searching for clothes and lilies, our goal is to do 100 books in 30 days.
Yes.
And if they just go to Amazon, put in the title,
They'll find
this
it,
pops
and
up.
they'll see all the 5-star reviews.
Yeah, it's an incredible book, and it's
Thank you.
the way you've laid it out with the different poems is really, really cool. I really, really love this. It's get it. If not for yourself, this is a cool gift to give.
Exactly.
Especially if you give this gift with some wine. which we can
Right.
get into.
So for those who don't know, the book, it's a book of original poems, and each poem is paired with a wine. So what I'm doing in the book is I'm looking at the poems were written first. So I'm looking at the story and the mood of the poem, and I'm pairing it with a wine that I believe tells the same story or puts you in the same mood.
I love that. That would be such a cool gift to give because people can then buy the book, look at the pairing of the wines, and
Right.
begin drinking the wines while
Exactly.
reading the book.
And then on the last page of the book, there's a list of every wine that's in there.
That's
so you can
awesome.
also work backwards.
And then you have 30 wine reviews in 30 days coming up.
So I started.
Okay.
Today is day 17. This is my challenge. If you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Shall We Wine, what I'm doing is every day I'm reviewing a new wine. So when people say, I don't know what to drink, I have the answer for you. So just go to my page, and every day I post a new wine.
And that's for, I think, most people. I mean, you
Yep.
and Derrick are experts at this. I'm almost speaking for John because John might be even more of an expert than I am. Most people find wine intimidating and challenging. We talked about it last time. I do. I'm out more at events. I have to wine and dine, people we're recruiting, people that we talk to. But I have that phobia of when I get the wine list, I'm like, yeah, what do I order? I don't know what we're eating. I don't know what the right wine is. I don't know what I should be ordering. If you're on a date, kind of the same thing.
Right.
And then you always see those like 98 or 92 or 93, but you don't really, like the lay person like me doesn't know what the hell that means.
Right.
So we can take your reviews of the wine and then
Exactly.
go into restaurants and order them.
And the reviews are fun, and
Okay.
they're written in a way like the book where if you're not a wine expert, you can still enjoy them. I wrote a review about this wine that everyone loves, but I just could not love this wine, and I equated it to like that really great guy that you want to fall in love with, but you can't. See, people can understand
Yeah,
that, right? They can understand that. But so it's written in a way where if you don't feel like you're an expert or you're intimidated, you can find a wine that works for you.
That's what I really love about the last time you were on the show. You do a really good job of making somebody, again, like me, I'll use myself as an example, not dog on John too much, but someone
Yeah,
like me
John.
who really doesn't have a well-based understanding of wine, understand wine in my terms, layman's terms, instead of, I've been to, restaurants and stuff, and I'd love to get Derrick's take in a second on this, where I almost feel like the person trying to explain the wine menu to me when I'm asking dumb questions makes me feel like I'm even dumber than I am about wine.
And that's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Because and I'm not an easily intimidated person in any capacity. You can throw me into any conversation. I'm usually okay. But I almost always kind of freeze up when I'm ordering wine. And you do a fantastic job of making somebody like me understand wine in my terms. Which I
Great,
love.
thank you. My work here is done. I'm about to
You're
drop
about to
the
go. You're
mic.
like, I'm gonna start drinking,
out.
which is a good segue into me chatting with Derrick. Derrick, thank you so much for coming on WheelHouse. Tell us the story of how you got into wine, because we talked off air and it's a pretty awesome story. Tell everybody listening how you got into wine.
Yeah, the story about how I got into wine, it's more of a kind of it's a fluke, and it's being in the right place at the right time and listening to the people and the things around you. So I got into wine while I was in college, but not in the traditional sense.
To just
most-
drink it
Yeah.
Underage, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, a little story that I didn't tell is my first sip of wine was actually when I was 8 years old.
Jeez.
I was at it was a New Year's Eve party. An aunt of mine who is now my favorite aunt for natural reasons. She had a glass of champagne sitting there on the table, and I was looking at the champagne, looking at her. She was looking at me, looking at champagne. We had this moment. She was like, "You want some?" And I was like, I'm an 8-year-old kid. Of course, it's sparkly. Yes. Yeah. I tasted it, and it tasted horrible because as a kid, you don't know. You haven't developed the taste for champagne, especially like super dry champagne. But she asked me if I wanted more, and naturally I said yes, even though I didn't like the taste. And I like to tell people that that's when I first got into wine, and then I've been a sommelier ever since. Not true, but it sounds great. The real way I got into wine was in college. A mentor of mine told me to work at a restaurant, and I was like, "Why? Like, I got all this studying, that's late nights. I don't think it makes sense." He was like, "Well, think about this. You'll have money in your pocket, you'll always be able to eat, and you'll always be able to drink." I was like, "Oh yeah, sign me up."
That's what we off air were saying. That's 3 of the 4 human necessities, and those 3 things added up usually will lead you to the 4th one.
100%. 100%.
It's a great piece of advice.
I'm not sure what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, it's not what she said when we were off air.
No. How about this? Eat, drink, and have a lot of money in your pocket at one moment, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The probability of something else happening increases exponentially.
Indeed.
It's very cool. So how did it go from kind of that conversation to where you're at today?
Yeah, so, and I'll give you the most succinct version possible. So while working at this restaurant, I fell in love. They were rebuilding the wine list, so I had the opportunity to taste things that any normal 21-year-old wouldn't be able to taste. And so there's when I kind of figured out, oh, this is cool. I was gonna graduate. I graduated right when the market crashed, so right after 2010, and all of the nonprofit offers I had, because that's what I was gonna do. Eventually, I saw myself running my own nonprofit one day, but that bubble burst with the other bubble. And with that said, I had the opportunity to move to Chicago. So I moved to Chicago. There you go. I moved to Chicago.
Told me to move the champagne bottle, but I have the shortest arms in the world. T-Rex arms trying to reach for that thing.
Derrick and I set that up in advance.
Yeah. Thanks,
Well played,
buddy.
John.
Yeah, well done. I'll get you back.
So fast forward, I moved to Chicago looking for a venture. Started working at a couple steakhouses. Then I worked at Next Restaurant, which is a part of the Linear Group. And then I became the beverage director at Elizabeth Restaurant, which is a 1-star Michelin.
Huge too.
All before 30. And I think the only reason it happened is because I hustled and grind. My entrepreneurial spirit comes from being around entrepreneurs from a young age, and so I don't know how to approach life in any other way, and just doing that led me to where I am now, and Wine Enthusiast magazine. And
On the cover, by the way, he was on the cover. He's being very modest. He was on the cover of Wine Enthusiast magazine.
Yeah, 40 under 40 this
cool.
year. So
congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
a
That's
big,
awesome.
big deal.
And so that's how I got into wine. And now I've ventured out, and now I'm doing wine in a little different manner than your typical sommelier restaurant. Like, I'm in a restaurant, but I think most of my time and most of my energy is spent in the wine world in a non-traditional fashion, which is often the most fun for me, and I'm excited to tell people and show people what that looks like.
That's awesome. So, what does a day-to-day day in your life look like? Like, what do you guys do?
Well, so do you want to? So there's kind of 2 answers. Do you want like the typical sommelier's day, or you want my day?
Your day.
Okay, my day is a little
your
different.
day. Yeah,
So-
I want to know what
How
you do.
much time do you
I
have?
know, right?
It seems like your day is more fun. than
My day is a
typical.
little more fun depending. So let's use an example of. Let's use today for an example. Yeah. So today I woke up this morning, went to the shop, the restaurant around 9, had a meeting with our AP person, so the person who handles all of our accounts payable. So had that meeting with her at 9 just to kind of catch up, see where we were. Then at 10, 11 met with the chef, and we were talking about new menus, tastings. Last night recapping that, and at noon, that's when Murphy's Law hits, and so someone comes in needing something or working on the project. So that happens noon to 1 o'clock. Well, 1:30 comes, and I'm supposed to be prepared to come see you guys at 2. I'm not dressed. I'm still in sweatpants, sweatshirt, just walking around the shop, just comfortable.
You did pretty good with your outfit.
Fast, yeah.
And so between 1:30 and 2, I'm getting dressed. And prepping for a Samples and Samples event. So I have a wine event called Samples and Samples where we pair wine with music. So I'm leaving here to go there. So I was kind of prepping and on the phone texting to make sure that the DJ's ready, that the aux cord, the space is all connected, talking to my manager and business partner. So that's happening between that and getting dressed between 1:30 and 2 o'clock.
You're a business owner. I mean, it's that's entrepreneurs end up typically running around. It's like John and I have run in here sometimes. We're like, we got 3 minutes to get ready. And jump in. It's like we got to figure this out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Jump in the car with Regine. We head over and we talk, and that's probably around the time where I have the most calm time. Because then Regine and I get to catch up, just talk shop, and now I'm here with you, and then I'll go back and go do Samples and Samples, and then after Samples and Samples over, I'll stop in at the restaurant just to make sure everything's good.
I love that. You're like morning to night. Go, go. What's cool is, you look at Regine's book and, it's wine and poetry. You're doing wine and music tonight. You guys are so much more unique than the average wine expert who just, like you said, part of life is you're doing it at the restaurant, but you guys are stepping outside of that and just educating people on wine and bringing a really cool cultural and just fun atmosphere to wine. I mean, for me, wine is like, hey, you're at dinner, you're having some wine. I'm not like hey, I'm sitting at home just drinking wine type of guy. I know a lot of people listening do. You see it on everybody's Instagram at night. They're just kind of drinking wine. But you guys do a really good job of bringing a lot of fun to wine, which gets me excited about it because I love to drink. I mean, I'm typically drinking tequila or vodka and sodas. I'm a champagne guy. I actually really, really like champagne, but I can never figure out and I love sangria, and we're going to, I guess, sample a bunch of this stuff in a second. Yeah. But I think I'm more of like the sweet type of wine person. Okay. Do you guys find that there's more of one or the other? You mentioned dry, sweet.
I guess, would you like me to...
Well, I think we're going to have two different perspectives on this.
Okay, this will be interesting to hear both your perspectives then.
Well, my company is a demo company, right? So we are some of the people that you see at Benny's, Mariano's, demoing wines, right? So I have to read reports every week. And what I know is most people, I think, actually like sweet wines. Okay. But they think they like dry wines. So I think most people like a fruit-forward wine. And then beyond. And I think it's really hard to get people to like what are really, really dry wines. So that's what I think. What do you think, Derrick?
No, it's funny. I agree completely.
What?
I think that people actually like fruit forward. Because if you think about, to nerd out just a little bit, when you think about most of the wines on the market, especially when you talk about New World or wines here in the States specifically, like California, things of that nature, you often find that those wines are very fruit forward. Even though like your Cabs, your Malbecs, those wines are still very fruit forward, and they're not necessarily sweet, like super duper sweet, but on the continuum of sweet to dry, they have a little bit more of that fruit. And here's the one you can put in your back pocket to pull out. They have a little more RS, which is residual sugar. So
look at him hitting us with the knowledge.
I'm writing that note down. Next time I'm on a date, I want one of your wines with some more RS.
So and you want those kind of like fruit forward, slightly sweet, palatable wines, because if you think about it, like animals, birds, all these things, when in nature, when you're the fruit that you don't want is the underripe fruit, right? Because those are dangerous. So like animals, and we, and us as an extension, we would want things that have a little bit of sweetness. So I actually agree with Regine on that.
Interesting.
Wow.
I for sure know, like, my palate, I tend to like the sweeter stuff a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Whereas like sweeter champagnes, sangrias, that sort of thing, I like to drink more if I just have to sit there and just drink it all night.
And there's also a distinction between sweet and fruit forward. And maybe we'll taste at least 3 of these wines today, and we'll be able to
5
talk.
bottles.
We're not opening all 5. We're not opening all 5.
You gotta walk out of here.
But you know what? Before we do that, can you explain in words what the difference is between fruit forward and, because I've heard that a lot, but it's like, okay, so does that mean you taste the fruit right away and it's drier on the back, or what is it exactly?
Yeah, so the way I like to think about fruit forward is I like to think about wine in a couple ways. Think about it based on region versus grape.
Okay.
That's one, and that's a whole nother tangent on its own. And then the other thing is thinking about textures and weight, right? So when you think about big and bold, how does it sit on your palate? Does it sit like whole milk? Does it sit like skim milk? Does it sit like 2%? Does it sit like water on your palate, right? So that's the weight situation, right? And then texture is it drying out? Is it pulling all the water out of your gums, or is it making your mouth water? Now, the cool thing about sweetness is that there's 2 things that make your mouth water: acidity, or like citrus, right? So like lemon, that makes your mouth water, and then sugar. So both of those things act very similarly on your palate, right?
Interesting.
But when I bite into a cherry, right? So there's different types of cherries, or even apples, right? All of those things can have varying levels of sweetness, but they're all fruits, and they all still taste like fruit no matter where that level of sweetness is. Gotcha. So fruit forward is how much of that fruit expression is there, right? How much are you picking up on that as the largest spectrum of what the wine tastes like, versus, and then sweetness is how much sugar are you tasting, right? Okay. So one is just about sugar, and the other is about fruit, and those things can exist in the same space.
I love that.
Does that make sense?
That makes total sense to me.
Absolutely. That was great.
I feel like I just learned a lot. I know. Whoever wants to go to all my buddies, if you guys want to go out this weekend, we're going to order some wine, and I'm going to show you guys. I know my shit now. I got it down. I'm going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that really confident guy that kind of walks in there now, and he's like, don't worry about it. I'll order. I got this.
Yeah. Give me the wine list, buddy.
Right.
Cool. So people drink a lot during the holidays, and one of the cool things we wanted to do was be able to talk to these 2 experts about some different price points and different types of wines you guys can buy, you guys can sample. Regine, I love how you said you ran to Target and just grabbed a couple things because in different price spectrums, but stuff that anybody could have. Because obviously you can go crazy in price in wine.
I did bring one crazy one.
Oh, you did?
That we won't open today.
Look at that tease.
Let's get crazy. Come on.
Look at that tease. But we'll show it.
We'll show it.
Yeah. Should we start the I've been chomping at the bits to drink a little bit.
When are we going to taste?
We'll come back to like chat.
All of a sudden, I'm not hungover anymore.
Right. Okay, so here's what we did. I brought wines from Target.
Okay.
Because I had one of my followers say to me, everything that you post is $25, $30, which is not true, because Derrick and I did a series of videos that's on my Shall We Wine YouTube channel where we showed wines under $10.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so we want people to know that you can enjoy wines at any price point. But today, because let's say you have a grab bag and you want to pair a bottle that's under $10 with my book. You see how I did that?
Oh,
I brought some of that for you.
Yeah, hold on. Let's put that up real fast. Put that up there. There you go.
And then if you want to have something that has a little bit of bubbles in it, but you can't afford champagne, I have something very different. It's a sangria, but it does have a little bit of frizzante to it. Nice. And then, of course, I brought champagne because you do know that's actually my favorite.
It's your favorite, too? It's my favorite.
You didn't know?
I think you may have said that last time.
What?
It's my favorite too.
It's an obsession.
It's if I had a choice between other than and I'm gonna say this, when I go out drinking,
right.
I'm probably not drinking with dinner. I'm drinking.
Okay.
So rarely at the bar am I having champagne. But if I was given a choice of something to drink, it would be champagne.
Okay, and let's make sure, because I know Derrick and I will talk about this at some point, that there, the difference, I know you do, between champagne, cava, prosecco.
Do you want to quickly touch on it?
Well, okay, so champagne, just to keep it very simple, has to come from the Champagne region in France. Okay, that is it. So sometimes someone will say, we'll put a bottle of cava in front of you, which is also delicious. Cava comes from Spain. It's made in the same method, which is called the méthode champenoise, as champagne, but it's different grapes from a different area. And although it's delicious, it is not champagne. And don't call it champagne. Look at my face, y'all.
Yeah. Just because you have
No
to
game.
pop the top doesn't make it champagne. I said that to people before. People are like, this is champagne. I'm like, no. Just because you're shaking it and you're clicking the top off, that's not
And
champagne.
don't shake it. Like that just,
Yeah.
no,
Ruins
please.
it.
No,
Yeah.
no. Champagne is like, the least expensive bottle I can think of is maybe $35,
Yeah.
$40. And there's so much work that goes into, a bottle of champagne has to age for 15 months minimum for non-vintage. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Don't shake it. Don't pour it on your girlfriend. I'm like, I get so
Well, I don't know about
irritated.
that.
I was gonna say, this is what Regine.
I lied. I have poured it on.
This is going to sound real bad. I actually have only poured the champagne on dudes on a podium. I race cars, so
Whatever makes you
guys,
happy.
yeah, guys,
not really what I
I
had in
shake.
mind.
You shake the champagne and then you spray it at the person. But otherwise, if I'm normally
You
drinking,
just
we don't
broke
do
my
that.
heart. Like I had a crush on you, but you ruined it.
I've killed it.
Is it real champagne that you do that?
No,
with?
it's. I don't even think it's real
Okay,
champagne.
well then, okay, I'm back in
Because
love.
they're not. They're just giving us whatever they give us. They go get on the podium and then you shake it. And spray
Okay,
it at the
okay,
person.
you're
Yeah,
killing
yeah.
me here. You're
No,
killing me.
no.
Okay, I'm back. I'm
Yeah,
back.
it's
We're
the
here
cheap
again.
stuff.
We're here again. Derrick got a little jealous when
As
I
long
said
as they.
No, you see, I got quiet. I was like, oh, is that the case?
We're gonna pan to Derrick. He's walked out. He's like, I'm out of here. Screw you guys.
Derrick is my wine husband.
Oh, he is.
Yes, and I'm a
Look at
wine
that.
cougar.
Uh oh.
Get warm
Maybe-
in here all of a
maybe-
sudden.
Crazy.
Maybe we shouldn't drink all 5 bottles of here, John.
All right, so Derrick, why don't you tell us what you brought, and we can open something because I'm thirsty.
Okay.
I want to get back into this cougar thing. What's going on with that?
Wine cougar.
Nobody's couging you, by the way. That's true. Well, let me ask for their
That's true.
deathbed if somebody's cougaring John. Sorry, buddy.
Oh wow, that's
That's
great.
wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Hey, he did the T-Rex thing to me
Yeah, he
earlier,
did.
so I had
I
to get
did.
him back.
You got me there.
That is fair. On that note, so Regine brought things that are a little bit more accessible, and
This
you
one.
know,
We're gonna move this one right here.
yeah. So this is,
That's high end.
yeah. We're not gonna talk about.
So you
that
want me to
one.
show it?
Yeah.
I'll
This
show
is what you should, if you can, you want to treat yourself for New Year. I love this wine. It's a vintage champagne. Derrick, tell us what a vintage champagne is.
So typically champagnes are, first of all, they're blended wines from multiple years, so multiple vintages, in order to maintain a consistent level of flavor profile, right? But every once in a while, in the Champagne region, they'll have a really good year, and the producer will have
blessed year.
Yeah, a fantastic year. And the producer will say, you know what? I don't want to blend any of this. And so they will bottle only the juice from that one particular year, because they wanted to express the terroir or the style of that year.
How often does that happen?
It varies, I think.
We've had a
seen
few
10.
vintages. We had 2012 was a vintage
12
year.
was.
2010.
10 was vintage. 8.
8,
6,
6, 4,
five,
and
was-
2.
Oh, it wasn't
Seems
5,
like
it was
even
4 and 2.
numbers are lucky years for
Yeah,
that.
I don't
For
think
2 years.
5 was.
I don't think 5
yeah,
was.
it was 4 and 2 because I do know I have them all lined up.
Oh, see, see, Regine
Yeah.
knows.
So that's
I drink
Laurent-
it. She knows it.
Yes. So that's the Laurent Perrier, which is one of my favorite producers. I have a lot of champagne houses that I love, but this is a really good one.
How much would this bottle cost if somebody went to like a Binny's or?
I want to say 130
Yeah,
or
Oh, so
you're
it
up
is.
there.
This is
Yeah,
high
yeah.
end.
Yeah,
This
it
is-
is
Yeah,
high
yeah,
end.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And this is not one that you would shake.
No.
No,
You
no.
would sip
You'd
this
be an
slowly.
Yes.
idiot if you shook this thing. Okay. Cool. This one we're not having, but let's leave it here and stare at it.
If you
It's
shake
my
it, a
last
sommelier from anywhere, just out of the
slap
blue,
you.
would just come and tackle you. Or there used to be those ESPN commercials where like somebody just standing down the hall and
And
guys
they just
running.
tackled. Yeah.
That's what would happen if you shake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ten
We won't
sommeliers.
shake this
I love
one.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
so
So on the go ahead.
Yeah, no. So we got that one. It's expensive, but that's a treat yourself type
Yes.
champagne.
Yeah.
So every year I pick out the bottle that I'm going to have. I already know which one I'm going to have this year.
Okay.
It's not going to be the Laurent Perrier. You will read about it very soon.
Very cool.
But yeah, so every year I pick it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, in that same vein, so not in champagne. So this is a sparkling. So this is Bougie Cerdon.
Bougie, which is what Derrick is.
Yeah. It's got
so-
a great pocket square. And it matches
Yes,
the
so
bottle.
bougie.
Look how like he did that.
You know, I won't
like
say it was on purpose, but it was definitely not an accident. So the Bougie Cerdon, so it's a method ancestral, which is a different method than the champagne method, But what's most important about this particular wine is it's a demi-sec, so it has a little bit of that sweetness.
Okay.
Which, you know, as we've talked about today, everyone actually loves.
Yep.
But they hate to admit it. And it's rich, it's creamy, it has that fruit forward note to it. I really love this wine because the bottle's beautiful, and it is not quite as pricey as the champagne.
How much is this guy?
So you're looking at roughly about $40.
Can I show it to everybody?
Yeah, please. $36 to $40, I think, is what
it's
it typically.
medium-ish.
Yeah, so not crazy. Something if you wanted something nice, but not quite as New Year's Eve nice. But I want to celebrate or I want to share this with someone. And then
But let me add, that might be what you can afford for New Year's.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because I've had some $10.99 New Year's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's a good
keep it
price
real.
because in a restaurant, this is not 35
Oh yeah,
$40
yeah, yeah.
bucks. We're
You're
talking
looking at a big,
$100.
probably because in retail that it's about that 30, 40. And the other thing too is like for us, because we're in the industry, having friends and having relationships, it's easier for us to have access to price points that are that normally would be inaccessible. So I think it's always important for sommeliers and for everyone to remember that like you can drink yummy at any price point.
Absolutely.
And that's the key. So
Awesome.
yeah. And then
So let me show you my. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, you
I'm going to
please.
show you my $6.99 find.
I'm excited.
What? Okay, so this is Route 1 Carmenere. I'm going to open it. Do you want to show it first?
John, am I doing a good Vanna White here?
You are.
Showing
You
your
are.
stuff out. Look at this.
So
Used to be a hand model too.
I know.
Right.
with my like little fat fingers here.
Very nice.
this is
All
on
right.
sale at Target.
Okay.
I honestly hadn't had this this wine in about 2 years.
Okay.
But I remember when I first tasted it, I was like, $6.99. Like, how is that even possible? Because it's actually delicious.
Okay.
And again, we want people to enjoy wine, no matter how much money they make. There's a wine out there for you. So okay. See, it's spicy on the nose, red berries. I hope it tastes good.
Regine, while you're pouring, food pairing, anything in particular with this wine?
You
Is
know
this
what? I really like to have burgers with Carmenere.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right
It's
up my
got
alley.
soft tannins, so even if you're I make the best roasted chicken. I know there are French chefs who would say that's not true, but I really like my roasted chicken. And I do a lot of root vegetables. I put a lot of herbs in it. So I got you, John. John's like, hello. So I would definitely, with the right roasted chicken, I would definitely go ahead and serve a Carmenere with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
what
we
do you
can
think?
taste.
What would you pair with it?
So Carmenere, I like roasted chicken. I like burgers. I like it on its own. I think there's this kind of like green note. So like veggie stir fry is really good. Anything that has some nice amount of
A
fat.
gyro.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm gonna get really hungry. I haven't had lunch or breakfast
Right.
yet.
Anything
All
that's
right.
kind of rich, because this is gonna go well with kind of richer.
I
items.
just watched both of you do your. You gave it its smell, but you also shook it. How much should you be doing that? This is a really silly amateur question.
No, that's actually a great
but
question.
I watch people sometimes the entire time they're sipping just keep doing that. And I'm
That's
like-
annoing.
I was like,
Yeah,
what are
don't
you
do
doing?
that. Just don't do
Am
that.
I not
There's
spinning enough?
swirling
Am I
and drinking.
underspinning?
Yeah.
What's
So
going on?
my rule of thumb for me is about 3. So 1, 2, 3, and of course there's a lot in yours, or you should have a bigger glass. But I do about 3, and then I go. and I
John's not
smell
waiting.
it.
John's drinking.
Oh, you-
No cheers from John.
Cheers, John.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers. He's
Cheers.
done in the corner over there.
So I think Derrick probably does about 10.
Yeah, I just
He likes to swirl.
Yeah, the funny thing with me is like I'll sit here like while I have it and just swirl it. It just depends. It depends on the wine. Depends on if it's like tight or if it's like.
What does it do
open.
when you're swirling it?
Okay, so I'm glad that you said that. Sorry to cut you off, but that's important. So
Okay.
for the first time, I'll do it maybe 2-3 times. But Derrick is absolutely correct. If you're trying to evaluate a wine during an hour or half an hour, you will swirl it every time, a couple of times, just to get the aromatics.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, and I think that for me, so like I am a continuous swirler, if you will.
Okay.
he's got swirling issues.
Yeah, I do. And what happened is it's the first glass. So
I'm gonna be a continuous swirler now. I have like this nervous twitch now. I'm swirling away.
So like the first glass of any bottle, I'm gonna swirl and swirl and swirl. And,
Okay.
And I think it's a holdover from my studying for exams. Because you're always swirling, smacing, tasting, evaluating, thinking about it. And so now, like, even when I'm not doing it, I'm swirling just to try to get more information out of the wine. But after the first glass, I'm drinking.
All right, cool.
I'm always smelling. Like I have a smelling problem because I love the smell of wine.
Okay.
So not all wine, but actually most, especially a funky wine,
Yeah.
a funkier, earthy mushroom thing going on, I get excited. So I do smell a lot. Yeah.
So I'm gonna
So we
drink
got
this
swirls
because
and
John
smells.
is drinking away.
Oh yeah, putting it away.
Is there a right or a wrong way to hold a wine glass?
Yes, and you were doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I know. I watched both of you. You see
Totally
the
busted.
adaptation?
You-
I was
That's how you
going
move.
in.
No, you're the wrong way. See, you're drinking like I drink other drinks. I observed the experts, and they're drinking like this, so I switched.
The right way is whatever makes you happy at home.
true.
Well,
But
I'm
the-
I'm
No,
gonna do the
okay.
proper way, whether it makes me happy or not.
Yeah, you want to hold it by the stem.
Okay.
And Derrick can chime in, but you're holding it by stem because you don't want to change the temperature of the wine.
Okay.
Yes.
There is a reason behind it.
Yes,
That's
there
good.
is.
Okay.
Yes. So you're warming it up if you're.
But if
holding
you
it
drink
like
it
this.
super fast like John does, you can hold it because the
It's all
temperature
good.
won't
It doesn't
change.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Then you can hold it wherever the hell you want.
So
It's all
I'm
good.
I'm at a loss here because my camera's not working. So I can't show people that I'm barely sipping. You're making me.
But you were sipping in the corner before we started.
Well, you guys are terrible.
Crazy though.
Yes.
This is really good.
Right.
I completely forgot it was $6.99 until I just thought about it again. This is really good for $6.99.
Exactly.
Really?
The
Honest to
regular
goodness,
now
it
their
is.
regular price, to be fair, is I think $10.99.
Still
Whoa.
But
really
they
good.
always, I know, but I have to be honest, but they usually have it, Target usually has this wine on sale around the holidays for about $6.99. And there are different expressions, or Cabernet Sauvignon, they make I think a Chardonnay as well, but I really like the Carmenere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a case of this because it's
Right?
$6.99.
If you're having
That's
a party,
crazy.
Yeah.
you can't afford it. I can't afford
Yeah, I
to
don't-
a
I don't-
$40 wines for
whether
every
you can
person.
or not. This
Right.
is really good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
if people are going to be drinking all the time, like even holiday parties right now. We're
Right.
talking about the
Sure.
holidays. If you're
Right.
going to have a holiday party and you're hosting and you're going to have drinks, $6.99, you could just get everybody drunk off this.
Or maybe it's not about getting drunk, Mo.
Yeah, maybe you're just enjoying it.
He's
Our
gonna
holiday
keep-
party-
he keeps
our
going
holiday
back
on-
to that.
Our holiday party on Friday. The problem with our parties are they're just a drunken mess. So
Well, you got
Yeah.
$6.99. You can just hook them up.
that is awesome.
Hook them
That's
up.
really good.
Yes.
Now I know how to hold a wine glass. I know
Yes.
how much I'm supposed to swirl and why.
Yes.
I know
What was
the
that
weights.
RS thing?
Damn it! You got me.
Yeah.
Residual sugar.
Residual sugar.
Yes.
Well, we're good.
course,
We're
after-
on each other now.
After Regine told you.
Okay. Touche.
I was trying to whisper. And then the other thing I wanted to bring out or point out is that this is a screw top or
Yes.
Stelvin enclosure
If
is
you
how
wanna
we
sound
call
fancy.
it in the wine industry. But, consumers call it a screw top. It doesn't mean it's a bad wine. It doesn't mean it's a cheap wine. It just means that it's a wine that should be consumed young
Okay.
and fresh. And so there you go.
I love that you said that because I think the general perception is what you kind of mentioned that it's because it's a screw top wine that it's a cheap wine
No.
or a bad wine. But this is really, I mean, this is inexpensive,
Right.
but it's really, really good.
Yeah, and there are some areas that are using predominantly Stelvin enclosures, like New Zealand does. I don't know. I haven't read anything, and maybe Derrick can talk about this, about aging. I don't think we've had Stelvins long enough to know about longevity like we do with corks.
Yeah.
But do you know anything about?
So what I do know is there's actually a producer in Austria who puts his Pinot Noir in Stelvin, and I can't, I forget how to pronounce the name, but they have a wine. Their 2007 Pinot Noir is on the Stelvin enclosure, and I tried it last year, around this time last year, and it was singing.
Wow.
Really?
It was fantastic.
So
and
it's 10 years.
Yeah. So
Pinot.
so Pinot 10 years, which Pinot is one of those wines that, like if the conditions aren't perfect and you're not storing it properly, and if the enclosure is not proper, then it's gonna go on you. And that was beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful wine. And the point was for them to kind of debunk the concept of Stelvin versus cork enclosures. And from the taste of that wine, it did.
Really good.
Now, do we have, evidence of, going back 20, 30, 40, 50 years?
100.
Not so much. Yeah, I know, right? So I think, that first 10 years was a very good indicator of potential. But as far as having some in-depth knowledge about long-term,
It's relatively a newer.
it's relatively new. It's like LASIK. No.
Another topic I'm terrified of. But it's again funny because I have a friend of mine that goes, "Don't ever invite a date over and have screw top wine." He calls it, and that's not true. Apparently,
I should have. Here's the way to. Part of the problem is that I don't know if you the camera's capturing this, but part of the problem is that when people open Stelvin, they'll go.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you doing that? So
it's
what
like
you
it's
want
a
to
bottle
do?
of whiskey.
Yeah. So
Right.
what you want to do is you want to hold it and twist the bottle. I'm like, that's
okay.
sexy, right? That's
Yeah.
real, you know what I'm saying?
Looks like
there.
you're actually like uncorking
That's
it.
what I'm saying. So that's a
There's
different
a sexy way to
presentation.
even open wine.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
And the other thing too is like, especially in restaurants, like people want to see you open to go through,
Yeah,
open, cut the foil, yada yada yada, and and that's the romance of it. And I think, the romance can be not just in the opening of the bottle, but the enjoyment and who you're enjoying it with. So
Why don't you romance us and open that other bottle?
Yeah,
all right,
let's
so
do it.
Do we want to go? So I know you like something that's a little sweet.
I'll try anything.
Okay, well then let's stick with red. It's gonna warm
Let's
you
do
up, and it'll help speed up that process for tonight.
Wow, perfect.
You're gonna be there.
Yeah, sorry, Chicago scene in modern luxury. If I stumble in there to get my award nice and drunk, I'm gonna blame it on Derrick and Regine.
But before I can open this bottle, though, I have to do one very important thing.
Chug.
There you go.
Now I'm prepared.
I'm learning so much from you guys today. This is a lot of fun. Question: do you guys have if you want to go on like a wine trip, do you guys have I guess it's two questions. Your favorite wine location to go and drink, whether it's Napa, some people have, you got to go to Europe, and B, because your favorite might be different than a place you would recommend to somebody who's never been on one to go and be able to sample a bunch of stuff. So I guess it's two questions: your favorite place, and then a recommendation of if you're going to go on a wine trip, where should you go?
So for me, I know this isn't fair, but my favorite place is where I haven't been.
Okay.
Honestly, because there are so many wines that I want to get to know and see where they're made and meet the people. So for me, it's where I haven't been.
Cool.
For consumers, though, I would say follow a wine that you love.
Okay.
If you love
Smart
champagne, go to Champagne. If you love, I love Barberas. I went to Piedmont. So that's what I would say. Find out what you love. If you love California wines, if you love Sonoma, just go to Sonoma and start there, and then the journey will open up. We're actually taking a group to Spain. We haven't decided yet, but in July of next year. So we'll definitely.
Wheelhouse from Spain?
Yes. There you go.
Let's go. Drunken
Absolutely.
Wheelhouse from
Yeah.
Spain.
And then we took a group to Oregon,
Okay.
to Willamette Valley.
We'll
a few
do
years
Spain
ago.
instead of Oregon.
That's what I said. But Oregon's pretty cool
Yeah,
now.
yeah. No, Oregon
Oregon's
be
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah.
All right.
How about you, Derrick?
Wow. I think so. I'm gonna try to answer the question about where someone else should go.
Yeah, consumer.
A consumer. And I think it's tough because I was gonna say I want you to go somewhere where you can not just be sold wine, but you can learn about wine.
Yep.
I think tours that are focused on small producers. I like if you go do a tour, but do a tour of non-name brand wine. So if you can find it around, don't go tour those places. Tour the little small mom and pops. You'll get more opportunity to talk with winemakers, meet the people, and you get to see kind of the process and the passion in making wine. Not saying that the bigger houses don't have that, but just they're going to be inundated with a ton of people.
Yeah, less intimate.
And so that intimate setting gives you an opportunity to taste more. They'll probably pour you an extra glass or 2 or 3 or 4, which is always
Which
good.
Mo really likes.
Yeah.
And then you get to learn, and you get to get those wonderful gems and one of the wonderful moments with talking with people whose hands are in the dirt. So yeah,
I'm gonna have to reach out to both of you because I'm going to San Francisco to do. We were talking off air. I'm doing the Alcatraz Triathlon in June, and I was gonna stay a little bit extra and just go through wine country, at least in California.
yeah.
So
That's some
I'll
good
have to hit
spots.
you
Yeah,
guys up and
absolutely.
figure that out. How about your favorite personal?
So my favorite personal is I actually went there this summer, and it's Priorat in
Yeah.
Spain.
Okay.
So in Spain, it's roughly an hour and a half south of Barcelona.
Okay.
And it's super mountainous, rocky, hilly. So it takes an hour. So you drive into Montsant, and then within Montsant is Priorat. And so it takes you an hour or 30 minutes to get from Montsant to Priorat, and then another 30 minutes to an hour to get up Priorat, because it's straight mountainous, windy roads. And you're like, am I ever going to, this wine better be good, because I'm tired of driving. And you get there, and it's picturesque, and there's sheer cliffs it's not volcanic soil and ash, it's black slate, if I'm not mistaken, and they actually have to cut terrace into the mountains in order to have the vineyards, in order to grow vines.
Hopefully,
And
the person driving you up and back is not indulging on the wine past the cliffs.
well,
That
so
sounds like a.
for me, I was lucky because I got to go with I got to visit winemakers, and so I met a couple winemakers in Montsant, and they drove me up Priorat and drove down. So like they know it like the back of their hand, and they're going fast, and I'm going up sober. You're like, oh, I'm scared. Coming down drunk, you're like, oh,
Whatever.
This is
Go off the
great.
cliff,
I don't
go off
care.
the cliff. Who gives a shit?
I feel great anyway.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it is one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Very cool.
And it's small. Not a lot of people know about it, so there's not a ton of tourism there. So you really get to talk to the winemakers and hang out with the people. And it didn't hurt that I got to have dinner and lunch with one of the winemakers afterwards. It was like, hey, what are you doing for dinner? I was like, I don't know. It's like, you're eating with me. And instead of going to a restaurant, we went to like their house.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
So
that's
I am
really
a bit
cool, yeah.
biased. Like,
Yeah.
they got me with that. But
Yeah.
Is
Montsant
that wine
Priorat.
from the producer?
So the funny thing is, this wine is not from the producer, but this is from the region,
Oh, okay.
Montsant.
Let's open
so,
it up.
So yeah, so
Let's do it.
Montsant.
You see how I keep trying to get him to open
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wine?
he's
Like,
gonna
for real,
drunk.
dude? Like, how long am I going to have
We're
to
for
wait?
sure going over on this show, which is totally cool with me
Yeah.
because we're
Sorry,
drinking and hanging out.
I had a moment. I was just
Yeah, I
had
was
a
like,
moment.
just open the wine, Derrick.
All right.
Open the wine.
That would have been a great story over a glass of wine.
I started getting the shakes, right? I was like, give me
We're
some
like
wine.
sitting there like, huh.
Let's make sure this one's showing.
What does that mean?
Showing, or
yeah.
so making sure that the wine is not flawed. That is,
Okay.
it's
Can
putting
I
its
show the
best face
bottle
forward.
to
Yeah, please feel free.
the guests with my modeling of bottles now? If you guys, for any of your events, want a guy to just walk up to the table and be like, well, here's the wine.
You're
and then hand
hired.
it off. I now know how to open a sexy bottle as well.
We
Bottle
got
in a
you.
sexy way.
Oh yeah, that's yummy.
Very nice.
Oh, it's great. They do. And so now I can see. The people can't, nobody else can see, but I can see on the back exactly where in Spain it's from.
Yeah.
For the rest of you, go
And
buy the
I
bottle.
really like this. I really like Montsant and Priorat, and I like that this producer and this importer, because they're really big into letting you know where the wine comes from and giving you as much information as possible
Perfect,
about
thank
it. So yeah.
I'm
Do I have another friend coming over here?
John's coming. I'm spinning away.
There you
Spin,
go.
spin, 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 spin,
Spinning.
spin. I think I'm kind of between you guys. I don't do 3. I don't spin the whole time, but I think Derrick is rubbing off on me. I'm overspinning now. All
Yeah.
right, time to taste this. Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, I drank it fried.
Oh, look, I went to go drink it the wrong way again,
No.
and now
Yeah.
I'm correcting myself,
Yeah.
learning.
Cheers.
It's harder to spin from holding the stem.
Derrick is a spinner, so I'll spin too.
And so the cool thing about this wine is a little more dense, a little more weighty.
Wow, it's really good too.
Yeah. Has a little bit higher alcohol too, so 14.5. So it gets
What's
you
the
there.
average?
So it just depends. For me, 12 and a half, 13 is where 12 and a half to 13 is where most red wines live. It depends on the region. So warmer climates usually have higher alcohol.
Okay.
Cooler climates lower. Now with that rule, it's always broken, right? Someone's always breaking that rule. That's kind of the thing in wine. As soon as there's a rule, it gets broken. But yeah, so that kind of 12 and a half to 13. 13 is a little bit on the high end. But yeah, this 14 and a half is smoking. Yeah.
Is there any science behind champagne gets you drunker than wine?
I don't know any. I don't know any.
People say, "Oh, champagne gets you drunk," and maybe it's a placebo for me, and maybe it's because I drink champagne more than I drink wine. But I feel like it does. Maybe.
And
I think that maybe you drink it. People drink it faster.
Yeah.
That's
right.
what
That's
I
what
think.
I thought too.
Yeah, because if it's at the right temperature, it's refreshing.
Usually it's for a party,
Yeah.
so you're not just hanging out.
Right.
It's an occasion.
Yeah.
And again, to that occasion point is most times when you're having champagne or sparkling, it's in a celebratory moment. So then you feel celebratory. So then you feel that euphoria, and all of that leads to.
And then you might have had a shot or two to celebrate as well, and then you're mixing, and it turns into John's weekend.
You're the one that keeps talking about all this stuff. I'm just sitting here minding my own business.
John's not talking much because he's still drunk from Vegas. Did you chug that glass too, buddy?
No, I'm with you.
teasing.
Actually, Regine, I believe.
She did beat us.
Jumped out front,
She's
yeah.
in front.
Well, I only had a little bit. No. I only had a little bit because, like Derrick, I have a show tonight. So I'd like to be able to speak to my audience.
That's great. I'll be the only drunk person at my event.
Yeah.
You guys will
think
be
you're already getting
laughing.
there.
Sober.
That was really good too. I felt like both of them were on the, I want to say, sweeter end of the
Fruit
forward end
yeah.
of the spectrum. And I've tried to keep in mind the making your mouth water, and I feel like both of them did.
Yeah, there's some
So that means
acidity
have good
there.
Yeah.
acidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, good acidity.
And the funny thing is right, but these are dry wines.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes.
These two are
Yes.
considered on the dry end of the spectrum.
Yes.
Definitely.
And that's what I mean by everyone
Oh.
really likes sweetness in their wine or fruit in their wine.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I always, if somebody said, do you, and I'm asking questions again about a wine menu, do you like sweet or dry? I always go, I really prefer sweet. Like, I don't have a problem saying that.
Yeah.
I guess some people might. I'll admit that all day long. So these two, they probably would not have recommended because they're on the dry spectrum.
Yes.
But they're really good.
So if you shift your language to, I like fruit forward wines,
Yes.
right? What?
Ah.
And then you might throw a little RS on that.
Look at that.
right?
Look at that.
Throw
You're in the
that RS out
game.
there.
You're in
I'm
the
a
game.
pro now. Oh, I'm ordering wine so much. I'm actually just going to be a snob at our holiday party. They probably already have a set menu. I'd be like, can I have whatever is the most fruit forward? They'll be like, you just had 10 shots of tequila, asshole. Don't make any requests. Very cool.
Yeah. And I think the takeaway from all of that is the thing that Regine and I do is we want people to have the language and the understanding, so then they're empowered to make their own decisions, right? So then you can say, I like this, and most importantly, I don't like that. Like the key for a true wine drinker isn't, oh, I only drink sweet wine or I only drink dry wine. It's having an appreciation for the entire spectrum,
Right.
and then being comfortable enough to be moody about what you want in that moment.
You know what's difficult, and I
that.
was thinking about that for you guys, is if somebody comes in and they just say dry or sweet, you're not left with a lot of direction, so you probably almost have to go to a safe place. But if somebody can vocalize a few more things that they care about in their wine, it allows you to have the fun job of really picking out something that'll make that moment better for them.
Absolutely. And that's the job of the sommelier, right? To be a translator, to ask those questions.
Right.
Because if you don't know, you don't know. So you
Right.
might only know dry or sweet.
Right.
And it's our job to ask a little bit more. Sometimes I drive Derrick crazy because I'll go to his restaurant and say, just bring me something.
So what I love about what I've learned
I
from
do
both
that.
of you is, you guys have educated me and we've spent some time together and I've learned a
We're
lot.
going to charge
last
you for
time.
that education.
Perfect. I would pay for this education.
Invoice in the mail.
I'm in. You could send me a bill. This education I would pay for. But I've learned a lot just being able to talk to you guys, and hopefully people listening are learning a lot. But sometimes in a restaurant, you have a couple seconds to make a decision. You might also be shy about it because you're trying to impress somebody that you're out on a date with. How does somebody come to you guys or go to an event? Or is there anything that you guys suggest that somebody who's listening to would go to get some of this information that John and I have been lucky enough to learn from the two of you?
Well, thank you for asking. www.shallwewine.com.
Shallwewine.com.
Yes. So we have, we blog. Follow me on Instagram because I educate with my reviews. And then we also host consumer events. So if you go to the website, we'll let you know where the consumer events are, and you can learn at those events.
I think it's such a valuable thing. I mean, I would suggest to any business person that's listening, and we cater a lot to entrepreneurs. We've gotten into wine a lot in your two businesses, but you're going to be out, you're going to be entertaining, and you're going to be doing this sort of thing. So if you can learn the verbiage and the understanding of the things that you're teaching us, you can, when you're at an outing, talk to people and figure out what they want. And it's an interesting way to connect with somebody and then order that. And obviously you guys are going to have a better dinner experience. You guys are going to have more fun. You're going to connect on a deeper level.
Yeah. And I'll give Derrick a chance to answer, but one of the things that corporations invite me in to do is to do educational seminars.
Yeah.
So I work with a lot of law firms, and we recently did 2 different programs, but one of them I brought in 2 other sommeliers, and we had breakout groups, and we talked about food and wine pairing. And so the attorneys and their clients left with a better understanding of what works with what.
Very cool.
So I'm available for that too.
Be cool to book you for a client appreciation party for even realtors. Realtors, you guys throw a lot of client appreciation parties. That is a cool client appreciation event to have you out there to kind of give that education. Everybody loves drinking at their client appreciation parties, but then an educational piece to get people. And again, I venture a guess that 95% of people, even if they think they're a wine expert or they love drinking wine, they probably down deep are self-conscious about the little bit they don't know about wine.
That's probably true.
I mean, I think even sommeliers are self-conscious about the little bit they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so like I think I empathize with the fact that like as a sommelier, I know that there are, you know, moments or things that I don't know because I'm always learning.
Yeah.
And the thing that drives me is curiosity, not to be right. And for us, it's about handing over that curiosity to you, because once you have the curiosity, then, you know, the world's your oyster. You can try, find, and observe everything around you and pick out the wines that you love. So
I'm super curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious what we're going to drink next. Are we going to have one more?
Yeah, so pass me the wine key, please.
John, I love how much over we are, but we
What
don't
time
care
is
right
it?
now.
I know,
What time do you guys have
shows
to leave? It's 4:20.
Is it really? Okay, well, let's knock this one out.
yeah.
Okay. Let's knock this one out and we'll
Yeah, I
wrap
think
up.
they have to roll.
Yeah. So,
This was the longest show, but it's also the one we've drank the most on, so
There you
I
go.
don't seem to care.
You know
Ooh,
what?
that's kind of bubbly. And
We've
It is.
learned over the weeks and months so much on the show from different perspectives and such. But what we're learning
Did you
today.
just chug that? I'm sorry, John, to interrupt you. She just
I professionally chugged it.
she just, it
Profession.
was, I wish that was on camera. I caught it. It was so fast.
First of all, her pinky was up in the air,
It
so technically
professional.
it wasn't a chug.
Yeah. So pinky up, you're not chugging.
No,
No,
it's
no, no, you're
That's
not.
why
It's a quick sip.
You know
It's a
what,
quick
John?
sip.
You are now my favorite. See, it was Mo, but now you're my favorite.
Yeah, I called her out.
Quick sip.
And I know your girlfriend's gonna be mad at me, but now I have a crush on you. I don't care.
jealous type.
She's not okay. She understands because I bring the wine.
You do.
I got to show this bottle because I've
Yes,
actually
isn't it
had
great?
some of this, and it's how much is this? It's not that expensive.
$11.99.
Yep.
It smells good too.
Yeah.
This bottle of sangria, John.
Sweet.
John, is it on me?
I haven't even gotten close, and I can smell how sweet this is.
John, I don't know if the
It is.
camera's
You're
on me.
good.
It is. Okay, so this is sangria. Serve extra cold on ice, it says in the back.
Yes.
And I love sangria.
Okay,
'Cause I feel
so
like it's sweet.
this is sweet.
Yes.
Okay, but it's in terms of pre-mixed sangria, it is not the. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to get closer, everybody.
Yep,
okay.
there we go.
In terms of pre-mixed sangria, it is not super sweet. This is not syrupy sweet.
Wow.
It's a natural product. It's fresh. It should be served a little colder than we have it now. But I brought it because people do tend to like sweet wines. Also, I think it's a nice brunch wine. So if you're having a lot of salty dishes, and if you don't want to do mimosa for brunch during the holidays, I think this is a good go-to. I think it's good.
7% alcohol. I
So
looked
low
on the back there,
alcohol.
so low alcohol
Yeah.
content.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So you have to drink a lot of this. to be drunk.
What is wrong with
But
you?
you can drink it. So what I was getting to the brunch. So I was going to go with the brunch. You can drink this at brunch comfortably
Yep.
and not have that, well, the rest of the day I'm really in trouble.
Exactly.
And the fun thing I think about sangria in general is, I like to use sangria as like adding things to it. So adding more sparkling to a sangria. So adding some bubbles, or even adding a brandy, or adding a spirit to a sangria is always fun, because it's one of those things where it allows you to say, look, I know this is wine and I love it on its face as it is, but if you want to punch it up a little bit, you can always do that. And so it can be your mixer. So then you're really stepping on the gas. You got 7% alcohol mixer, and then alcohol.
It's
That's up your alley, Mo.
But-
That's
Yeah,
up
right
your
up my
alley.
alley.
when you
Can you mix it with
smells
tequila?
sweet, right? But when you tasted it, it's not super syrupy
No,
sweet
no,
in
not
any
at all.
way.
Not at all.
But the on the nose, you think, oh, this is going to be really, really sweet, but it's not.
It's very refreshing
It
tasting.
is, yeah. And they have different expressions. So there's a white sangria, there's a rosé, and I think there's one that's a gold bottle that maybe is ginger.
Okay.
So they've really had a lot of fun with the sangria.
This is Lolia.
Lolia. Mm-hmm.
And for $11.99, it's really, really good.
Exactly.
And I love that you brought budget-friendly options in
Absolutely.
here, because I agree with you. I think the reoccurring theme here should be not only that you guys are amazing at what you do, but that any budget can really enjoy wine or champagne or sangria or any of these products, because you don't have to spend a ton of money to enjoy them. And it's interesting because I feel like wine is the only alcohol where you truly can appreciate a really good bottle for something like $6.99. Try to have a $6.99 bottle of vodka, and it's disgusting.
Not so much.
Right.
Or a $6.99
comes in
bottle of
plastic.
tequila. Like I just feel like you can't really sit down and enjoy that at a lower budget. You almost have to go to a higher budget to truly enjoy it. Whereas with wine, you can.
I agree.
With almost someone, except for Pinot Noir. I'm going to put it out
Okay.
there.
Yeah, that's true.
I have yet, and I'm sure someone's going to call me out on it. They might send me a bottle. I will taste it. I have yet to taste an inexpensive Pinot Noir that I would call, as Derrick likes to say, yummy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's good to know.
Yeah, I
for-
think
for
that
us.
I don't know. So I will say that I've seen some declassified, and this getting into jargon a little bit. I've seen some declassified stuff that was inexpensive, but at that point it's relative, right? It's like, what is inexpensive? It's like $25-$30.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
so like, and that is inexpensive in the Pinot Noir, in the really nice Pinot Noir world. I think
That's where you should spend your money.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend some money on wine, right, I think save your money and go for an expensive Pinot Noir.
spend the
Okay.
money.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So, Regine, when you say inexpensive, you have not found an inexpensive Pinot Noir that is yummy. What's the basement from the basement up that you would put in
Yep,
that yummy
that's
class?
a great question. So the least expensive that I remember tasting was $18.99
Yeah.
that I thought was good.
Okay.
Most of the Pinots that I enjoy are going to be $25, $35 price
So
point.
not crazy expensive, but you're
No,
not in that
no, no.
$6.99 to like $15.
Exactly,
budget.
exactly. Like a $6.99 Pinot Noir might scare me a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm nervous.
I was nervous about any wine that was $6.99, but that was really good.
I really enjoyed that one. I think that
Good.
is actually, I think that's my favorite of everything we've tasted today.
I like them all a lot, and for
very
different
much,
reasons.
very much.
Obviously, I just poured myself another big pour of this.
I like that. Keep pouring.
It's also very close to my
Busting my balls, and you're over there swinging it down.
It's close to my grip, and it's very refreshing tasting. Derrick, how do we find you?
So you can find me at Derrick C. Westbrook, DerrickCWestbrook.com. So there you can find out about the events. My Instagram, you can definitely find out about samples and samples. I think that's the next big thing that I'm working on as far as pairing wine with music. Instagram, social
that.
media.
Is that the same, the full name spelt out with the middle initial? The
Yes.
S.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure because
Derrick C.
I got you on the
Westbrook.
screen, and I just want to make sure I'm putting up the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's me.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, don't get the other Derrick C. Westbrook followers. You're getting the right guy to follow.
Yeah,
I
and
know,
the reason
right?
why we did the C is because you have
Derrick
Russell
Westbrook.
Westbrook, you
Yeah.
have Derrick Rose, and I was like, no one is ever gonna be able to find me.
Well, if you want funny, there's a guy who has my name, Mo.Gear, which is not a common. Nobody else has my name. And he has it, and then he wouldn't give me my Instagram. He held it hostage. So I got pissed. So I did the real Mo.Gear. No. But he's got 5 followers who are my friends who randomly followed him. And I'm like, guys, cut it out. And Twitter gave me my name back because he had taken my Twitter and he had made fun of me on Twitter. And he was actually funny. It wasn't me because he's far funnier than I am. He made fun of my height and stuff. He was kind of witty. So I don't know who.
For being so tall.
For being so tall.
Right.
I don't know who this guy who has my social media handles are. And he used to have a dumb looking picture of me that he found somewhere. But I got my Twitter back because I responded to Twitter. I'm like, this is me. This guy's making fun of me. Give me my name back. Instagram didn't, so I just went with the real.
The real. That's a good one.
I like that. The
Yeah.
real.
That was a great story.
I know. It's just he had an Instagram story. I wanted to share my own. I love that you're pairing it with music and you pair it with poetry. Again, I think it's a cool, fun way to bring awareness to wine with making it fun for the general public. Wine, I feel like, does intimidate a lot of people. It's always intimidated me until I met Regine, and she was on before, and she made it fun for me. And Derrick, obviously, you've done an incredible job of also making it fun for us. And I want to come out. I don't know how often you have the events. Tonight, obviously, I'm at an event, but I'd love to come out to something like that.
Yeah, definitely. You can check out the website. I'll definitely send you an invite. We are taking it on the road, so I think the next couple ones are going to be in Atlanta and Nashville.
Oh, you're taking it all over. I'll come to Nashville.
There you go.
When's Nashville?
Nashville. So I can't really tell you the date yet. It's
secret.
Does it get warmer?
No, I mean it's going to be warmer because it's not Chicago. But we're looking at January for Nashville and Atlanta. I mean, it's pretty much set in stone. I'm really excited about
Sure,
that.
you don't want to drop down to Miami? I mean, we're all the way in Atlanta.
Yeah. So those two are definitely happening, and then we're looking to do some New York, DC, and then Detroit are the other things on the docket. So
Very cool.
yeah, so I'm really excited about it. We did one here. We partnered with City Winery here and did one in Chicago. So I plan on circling back to do that. It's just we sold out, and so we're trying to figure out how to make it make sense to do a larger one.
Yeah.
But still give you that intimacy. So
Well,
yeah,
congrats on
it's
selling
crazy.
out.
Yeah, it's bananas.
Both of your passions for wine and what you guys do comes out immediately. You know, it's cool to see. Like I said, a lot of times I go into places and I'm nervous about wine. I've said it 100 times today. And the people don't make you feel comfortable about wine. You two both do an incredible job of making guys like John and I feel comfortable about wine and bringing a really fun feel to wine. This is the longest we've gone on any show.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. We're like an hour and 23 minutes in.
It's Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, it's Thursday afternoon.
Wait,
it's because
Wednesday
you guys
though. Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
It was
They're
when we started.
John's
I'm slow.
comedy. John's like
Slow on the uptake. I'm sorry,
John. I
guys.
got it.
Thank you
I
very
got
much.
it too. I have his humor kind of down now.
I was like, I'm confused.
Eddie Murphy over there, he's the funny guy in the corner.
Yeah, give me some
But
wine.
you guys really do an incredible job of making people like me and John understand wine, and B, have a good time with wine. So I'm excited to come to your events. Definitely, for those of you watching, we got to do 100 books in 30 days. Please check out our book on Amazon.
It's awesome.
It is really awesome. I have my own
I love
copy, so
it.
none of you guys can have it. It's mine. And then check out her Instagram because she's doing 30 reviews in 30 days. Today is day 17. I'm going to go back and watch a few more of your reviews.
Thank you.
I have, since you came on the show, I've had a bigger love for understanding wine. So if I'm at Binny's doing something, I will spend a little more time looking at stuff and just being more aware. And then Derrick, today, the watering and, the fruit forward and everything that you taught us just makes me more interested in learning. And I feel like I'm a martial artist. I feel like I've gone from a white belt to maybe a blue belt in wine now.
There you go.
You guys are like black belts. You guys are like masters.
Yeah.
I'll give
Sensei.
myself like a green.
Yeah.
There's
You
so
guys are
much
black
to learn in
belts.
this
You guys are experts at this. You guys are instructors, and I feel like I've graduated one level over most of my friends who don't know shit. So when we go to dinner, guys,
When you drop that RS bomb,
I'm going to start fruit forward. And they're like, whoa. They're like, what's up?
Yeah.
My dates are going to think I'm sophisticated.
no,
they
they're still not
won't.
going to.
Halfway through, they're going to be like, look at this drunken moron.
Give me,
But,
give me 10 shots of tequila and a bottle of Fruit Forward wine for the lady.
yeah, for the lady. But I really appreciate you guys coming on. You guys are so much fun. Definitely check out everything the two of them are doing. I want you guys back on the show almost every week. We'll do a total separate show and just drink with them, John.
Yeah, right.
Thank you so much again for coming on.
Thank you.
For those of you who are doing wine for the holidays and want to do pairings, you learned today it does not have to be a crazy budget. You can even go down to $6.99 and have a really tasty wine. Screw top wines are not necessarily bad wines. What's the term
was that
for
called
it?
again?
Stelvin wines are
Stelvin.
not
Enclosure.
Stelvin enclosure wines are not necessarily bad or cheap wines. They can be very, very good. And then you can go all the way to the really expensive stuff, which is sitting with it on it.
Yeah, which we didn't open.
It's probably okay.
Oh, you haven't forgotten.
We haven't forgotten.
I was hoping everything else would make you forget.
But there's so much you can do with wine, and I really appreciate you guys coming on. I'm going to come to both your events.
Awesome.
John will
John's
too, I'm
coming
sure.
tonight.
I am. I'm going to go
Oh,
to
he is.
Regine's event.
Yeah.
Oh,
What time
yeah.
does yours end?
9 o'clock.
Mine ends at like
please,
8-ish.
you will. Oh, I was gonna say. Oh, you can stop by if you want, but
Yeah.
you might not be able to.
Yeah. I don't know how.
You won't be any.
I have to. So to my buddies going with me tonight, I will be a couple steps ahead of you. So if you're at home getting ready, take a shot or two or have a drink or two.
Plus, we're
before.
cracking this.
What are you cracking?
Oh, the High West.
So, I will. You know what? When we wrap it up, I'm going to steal a camera and give Regine the credit she deserves for bringing this.
Oh, okay. What are we moving to whiskey?
That sounds like a little trepidation in your voice.
Don't worry, Mo.
Again,
You're gonna
sorry,
get a
modern
gift,
luxury.
too.
Sorry, Chicago scene, for the drunkest 2018 power player that will be at the event. So sorry, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Next week, John's telling me to keep talking. You want me to keep talking? I was going to announce next week. Next week, we're going to be back on at 3 o'clock. We will not have a day after Christmas show. I think we may have a day after New Year's Day show, but we haven't really hammered that out yet. We don't want to be gone for a couple weeks, but the day after Christmas, we won't be live. So we're going to have 2 more shows and then a break for Christmas, and then we're going to come back to you guys. John, who do we have on next week? Because John wants us to announce the guests a week in advance now.
Well, before I do that,
What has he got?
grab this.
Oh, yes, you're doing it now.
I have over here a bottle of High West Rendezvous Rye brought to me by our gracious guest, Regine. One of our early conversations, I made mention of enjoying whiskey, Irish whiskey, rye, all the way, everything except scotch. I'm not really and Regine said, well, I'm going to bring you a bottle. I said, no. She goes, oh, absolutely. And today she showed up. Oh, my goodness. So this is going to be enjoyed. I don't know if our guests or audience noticed, but Mo throws the word drunk in a lot, shots and drunk. So I'm not going to enjoy it with him. I'm going to enjoy it with maybe you two.
Sip slow.
Listen, here. Let me clarify that before we go. I don't ever drink unless it's like a night out with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just or if I'm on a date, I might drink, but I don't drink.
Wait. A night out with the guys or on a date?
Yeah.
So basically, whenever you go out.
But I'm not. So
I'm
here's
the pot calling the kettle black, dude. So.
Here's the clarification, though. A lot of people drink at home. Like at night, they'll watch TV or they'll unwind. I never really do. And if I'm out at just like a regular dinner, I probably don't. But if I'm out drinking,
Oh, you're out drinking.
my entire life is I have a on-off switch. It's like an off pedal and then like throttle down pedal with everything I really do. So when I go out, once I start drinking, I drink. But otherwise,
I'm really trust me. I'm not
We're
shaking
not
a
judging.
finger.
He's not judging.
I'm
But
just
I
protecting.
might.
I'm protecting my whiskey. That's all. I'm
I might, and I think I will start turning into more of the type of person that's going to start learning wine because you two have really, and I mean this, I'm not just
Honest
saying this.
goodness, yeah.
You guys have motivated me to learn more about things, and I have a very crazy obsessive personality with like hobbies. You know, so if you put me in a hobby, I just get crazy with it. Like I started scuba diving, and like I'm obsessed. I just want to go everywhere and go scuba diving. So as I start to learn more about something, I just want to make sure I don't suck at knowing everything about it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start to understand more, and then I feel like I will be drinking every night because I'll be at home trying to figure out what wines.
And that's okay.
Don't drink while you scuba dive. I had a lot of restraint at Lawrence's wedding because I had to go scuba diving 2 days in a row, and you cannot be drunk. You cannot be hungover because you're 60 feet underwater and there's pressure. So I didn't drink the 2 nights before, and we were in Tahiti for a wedding. But
Nice.
That's impressive.
I was not drinking.
That's
No.
very good.
No,
So I also don't want to die and get eaten by sharks.
no.
That's a good. That's
It's
good.
a good motivator
Yeah,
to
that
not
will,
drink.
like, you know
We
what?
got down there and there were some like 15-foot sharks, and it was crazy. But I'm obsessed now.
All right then.
Well,
Here we
our
go.
guest next week.
Oh.
We went way off topic today. But I just have
You
fun
are.
with these
You're
two.
talkative. We have a young lady named Heather DeSantis, who she lives out in San Diego. She is the CEO of a company named Publicity for Good, and so her PR firm gets behind charitable organizations and non-for-profit events, and really does generate the buzz for those type events primarily. We have one other guest coming on, and with it being the holiday season, we're having a hard time nailing down exactly what time they can get here. So I don't want to say anything, but it'll be a good one.
Okay,
All
I'm
right.
excited
All
about
right.
our secret guest.
I know. I just didn't want to
I don't
put
even
him on
know
the
who our,
spot.
I don't even
wanna
know
make
who our
anybody feel
secret
bad.
guest is, but I'm excited to meet our secret guest.
all
Well,
I
John,
got.
that's all you got. We'll see you guys next week at 3:00 with Heather and a secret guest, hopefully. Right.
In 3, 2,